In a world that feels just so incredibly loud all the time, how do we find a moment of peace? Well, today we're diving into a collection that offers an answer. It's Poems for Myself and Others by Antonino Maiorino, and it's a work that's really designed to be a quiet space in a very noisy world. Right from the very beginning, he sets the tone with this. Each verse lifts us, weightless, into life's quiet wonders. It's beautiful, right? This line just pulls you in. He's not inviting us on some physical journey, but into a feeling, a state of peace and reflection. The whole idea is to create an escape, just using the power of words. And believe me, this isn't some happy accident. This is his whole goal. He wants to offer what he calls an oasis of words. Think about that. A space where, just for a little while, we can push away our daily worries and just guide our minds toward a bit of peace. It's like building a sanctuary right there on the page. So to guide us through this oasis, the book is built on this really clear two-part structure. First up, Section 1 is a journey inward, all about the self and creation. Then Section 2 turns things around and looks outward, becoming this heartfelt tribute to friends and the community. It's such a beautiful and logical flow, from looking in to looking out. So let's do it. Let's start that journey inward with Section I. This part of the collection is really a world of wonder. The poet is basically inviting us to see through his eyes, to share in his personal sense of awe at creation, at life, and at love. Inside this first section, you've got these key themes that all weave together so beautifully. The poems, they kind of move from the grand scale of the cosmos all the way down to the quietest heartbeat. You have these amazing observations of nature, mixed with thoughts on love and loss, and it's all wrapped up in this deep spiritual gratitude. And you can really see the poet's incredible eye for detail in this line from February 6th. He doesn't just say, "the sun came up." No, he captures that specific, quiet moment when dawn dances between the peaks and the sea. It's just a perfect example of how this collection finds absolute wonder in the everyday. And here's what's so important. These moments in nature almost always lead to something deeper. Watching a sunset isn't just about what you see. It becomes this emotional, even spiritual experience that, like the poem says, fills the heart with gratitude. But, Section I isn't all just serene landscapes. It also gets into some really deep personal feelings, like sorrow and loss. But even in a painful goodbye, notice how the imagery just transforms. The end of something becomes a source of hope, symbolized so beautifully by butterflies taking flight. Okay, so now we're going to move from that inner world to the outer one in Section 2, A Community of Pillars. This is where the focus really shifts, right? From the personal over to the communal, celebrating the people who shape our lives. Honestly, this entire section is just a heartfelt thank you. It's a tribute to volunteers, friends, and companions who've served their community with so much dedication. The author even notes that they deserve a gratitude so gentle that only the sweetness of verse can give it its proper measure. I love that. And there's this really powerful metaphor running all through this section, the idea of people as pillars or columns. And as the notes explain, this isn't about being decorative, not at all. It's about being load-bearing. It's about providing the actual structural support that a community needs to stand strong. You can see that metaphor just come to life in this tribute to Giuseppe and Bianca Formale. They're explicitly called two strong columns. The poem isn't just simple praise. It's this powerful acknowledgement of their foundational role in healing hearts and supporting their whole congregation. It's amazing. All right, finally, let's turn to the poet's final word. And I don't just mean the message, but the actual craft of the collection. Because there's this really fascinating story behind how these Italian poems ever made their way into English. So, get this. The book was originally written in Italian, but what's so remarkable is that the English version we're talking about today was translated by the author, Antonino Maiorino, himself. And this was way more than just a language exercise for him. By translating the work himself, his whole mission was to make sure that the original meaning, the emotional depth, and the thematic essence of the poems were all faithfully preserved. He was committed to translating not just words, but the feelings behind them. And the author leaves us with this absolutely beautiful thought, which I think just perfectly captures the spirit of the entire collection. The poem is a shared space. It truly comes alive when a reader, when you, find a piece of your own experience right there in the verse. So all of this leaves us with a final question, right? Maiorino created his oasis to poetry about nature, faith, and community. It really makes you wonder, in our own crazy, busy lives, where do we find those quiet places to reflect and recharge? What's your oasis?